Hello, English 231 students. Welcome to week 8. Dr. Mills here with you. This week I'm going to share my screen and show you a couple of things on the screen. It's important that we talk about the final presentation that you'll have to do. So I'll talk about that briefly. As you can see here, I'm sharing my screen through a video that I'm recording through Zoom. So I have a free account on Zoom and I'm doing like a meeting. Just I'm the only one in the meeting and I'm recording the meeting, and then I'll host that video later on YouTube and then give you all the link. That's how I share the videos with you, and you'll be doing the same with me for your final presentation. You'll be recording yourself presenting something, sharing the screen like as I'm doing now, going through that information, and then uploading the video to some other hosting site like YouTube for free, and then sharing the link with me and your classmates. No, sorry, with me. And then I'll grade that assignment. So again, this assignment is something that I want for you all to take very seriously. It's the capstone for this class. For this 200 level English class, you're going to present your research that you've done this semester. This is your opportunity to show me that all the things that you've been submitting were in fact written by you, researched by you, because they'll be presented by you. So I want you to, to present your ideas that you had in your video, in your research this semester. Be authentic, be yourself. Don't just kind of read from the screen. If you want to have some things to read from, that's fine, but don't just read from the screen. And the rules and things are in the message that's to follow. I'm showing you here now. So this is that final week semester, the week of the 8th week, and then the final presentation is due during the 2 days after this last week. So as you can see here, the module 8 things that we're doing this week is we're toward the Civil War. So we're going through Voices of Freedom. The readings are, of course, all the information in module 8. And then Frederick Douglass, Narrative of the Life. There's excerpts from it in the book. Harriet Jacobs, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, and Abraham Lincoln, The Gettysburg Address. Read those things, and then, of course, your final portfolio number 3 is due. It covers weeks 7 through 8. It includes your reading notes, your reflections, your mini research, literary analysis number 3, the third one you've written, and any closing insights you have for the semester. And then the last thing that's due this week is that 100-word reflection. It talks about how your understanding of early American literature has changed over the course of the 8 weeks we've been in the class. There's some videos, this one you're watching now, and then Frederick Douglass, Harriet Jacobs, and Abraham Lincoln. The final portfolio presentation reminder that I'm going to go over briefly. It's due Monday the 14th or Tuesday the 15th of July. Again, it's your opportunity to reflect on your learning journey, to discuss all 3 of your literary analyses, the research you've done this semester, highlight your favorite reading from the term, and prove that your writing and research is your own and not just written by AI. So I'll be grading that as such. I want to see that the ideas that you gave to me in the essays that you wrote were your ideas, so I expect you to use some of the same language, and I'll grade it as such. Your presentation requirement is 8 to 12 minutes, so show both your face and your slides. Speak naturally. Tones are fine, but notes are fine, sorry, but no reading from the scripts, like I said earlier. Include that visual aid, whatever it might be. It could be Google Slides, a PowerPoint, a Canva, a Prezi, anything you want to use. And then use Zoom or Loom or Screencast-O-Matic or something like that to host your video. Submit both your video link and your slide deck or whatever presentation it is that you created, your PowerPoint, whatever, via the presentation module that's in the end of the modules, in the modules section. Again, it's your chance to showcase your work and to finish strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you create. So that's that information for the final presentation. Now I kind of want to go over the lecture for the last week of the semester. The lecture title here is called Voices of Freedom, Slavery, Resistance, and the American Ideal. This week's readings give us a look at the reality of slavery and the complex struggle around freedom and equality in the 19th century in America. It's also a memorable way to end our survey of American literature. Our focus this week is on three powerful writers whose words reshape the national conversation about human rights and justice and really what it means to be an American. Frederick Douglass was an escaped slave who used his autobiography as a political weapon. Harriet Jacobs exposed the specific horrors faced by enslaved women. And then Abraham Lincoln, whose brief speech at Gettysburg refined the purpose for the Civil War. Frederick Douglass's narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave, published in 1845. He was born into slavery in Maryland and escaped slavery at age 20. And then he became a leading abolitionist, a writer, and a public speaker. His narrative was written not only to share his life story, but also to expose the brutality and the hypocrisy of slavery. Some key themes in the work, you'll see slavery as dehumanization. Douglass describes being denied knowledge and separated from his mother and also physically abused, some dehumanizing events. Another theme was literacy as liberation. Learning to read becomes his first act of rebellion. He writes, "The more I read, the more I was led to abhor and detest my enslavers." Pretty tricky the way that Douglass gets people to teach him how to read and write. Very clever. And then the last theme, violence and resistance. His fight with Mr. Covey marks a turning point, and then he regains his self-worth by resisting. Why are we reading this? Because Douglass uses his personal story to challenge these national myths of equality and to prove the intellectual and moral capacity of enslaved people. People thought they were less than human, and it was his goal to show them that they were not. Next, you're going to read Harriet Jacobs' Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, 1861. Writing under the pseudonym Linda Brent, Harriet Jacobs was one of the first Black women to write a slave narrative. Her work focuses not just on forced labor, but on also sexual abuse, motherhood, and the unique suffering that enslaved women have had to go through. The key themes you'll pick up on while you read: sexual violence and survival. Jacobs is pursued by her enslaver, Dr. Flint, and chooses a consensual relationship with another man to claim some kind of control over her own life. Another theme is motherhood and bondage. She, for 7 years, hides in an attic crawl space to remain near the children that she bore. Brutal. And then the third key theme, public shame versus private truth. She acknowledges that women were often judged for choices that they made under coercion, that they made because someone forced them to make those choices. Why are we reading Jacobs? Because she exposes the gendered cruelty of slavery. She gives voice to experiences that were often left out of male-authored narratives. Females' voices weren't being heard. She forces readers to confront how slavery destroyed families and also stripped women of their bodily autonomy, choice over their body. Last author this week is Abraham Lincoln, and you're reading from the Gettysburg Address, 1863. Of course, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States, and he delivered this famous speech at the dedication of a cemetery following the Battle of Gettysburg. It was a turning point in the Civil War. Some themes that you'll pick up on here: national rebirth. Lincoln describes the war as a test of whether the nation conceived in liberty could survive. Equality being redefined. He echoes the Declaration of Independence and calls for a new birth of freedom. And then the last theme, democracy reaffirmed. His closing line, government of the people, by the people, for the people remains one of the most enduring expressions in American civic ideals today. Why we're reading this. Lincoln doesn't mention slavery directly, but the speech reframes the war as this moral struggle for equality, a goal that Douglas and Jacobs had been fighting for through personal testimonies. When you compare the three voices, the Douglas, his perspective was of an enslaved man, an activist. Jacobs was an enslaved woman, a mother. And Lincoln, of course, was the president, a public leader. Douglas's focus as an enslaved man was literacy, resistance, and moral authority. And his impact was that it challenged white assumptions about the mental capacity of their slaves. Jacob's focus was more of gendered trauma, survival, maternal love. And the impact was that she expanded the narrative of the abolitionist, the person who was fighting against slavery. Lincoln's focus was unity, sacrifice, and democratic ideals. And the impact was it recast the war as this moral cause. The texts that you'll read are all about voices that were either silenced, ignored, or nearly lost. Through the writings that you read, Douglas and Jacobs took back their narratives. Through a public speech, Lincoln reminded the nation that its future depended on making good on its founding promises, the promises of the founding fathers. Together, these texts, these authors ask us today to consider, what does it mean to be free? Who gets to speak for America? And how do personal stories shape public change? That's it for this week. I look forward to hearing from you. I hope that you had a great semester. I hope that you read some really good stuff. Make sure to give some good replies this week with your journal response, and good luck in the future. Grading should be completed shortly after your final presentation is completed. So you can expect to see those grades posted in self-services just a day or two after a class is in. All right, thank you.